Hello everyone, welcome to our English class, World Literature. This is your teacher, Miss Diane Rose Tagle. Our topic for today is very interesting. We'll talk about Greek gods and goddesses. Excited? Let's begin. Do you know that ancient Greeks dedicate their literary piece to the Muse? This refers to the 9 Muses, daughters of Zeus, who were deities that gave artists, philosophers, and individuals the necessary inspiration for creation. You see the passage? Please read with me. Sing, O Muse, sing to us of the glorious gods who rule the land and sea, and tell us of the fair beauty of the goddesses who dwell in eternal Olympus. Sing to us, O Muse, of ages that has come to pass, of those mighty warriors wielding their deadly spears from the lores of our timeless myths. The Olympians were a group of 12 gods that ruled the world after the Titans. They lived in a palace on Mount Olympus, built by either Cyclops or possibly by Hephaestus. 6 of them were children of Cronus and Rhea, the Titans, and the rest of the Olympians were mostly offspring of Zeus. I'd like to give you an idea about the word Titanomachy. Titanomachy is a series of battle between Titans and Olympians. So here, you will see the Titan Uranus was married to Gaia, the Titaness, who was in charge of the universe. But because of his greed for power, Uranus imprisoned some of his children down in the darkest pit in the underworld called Tartarus. So Cronus, his youngest son, and wife Gaia plotted to overthrow him. He was castrated, and Cronus took over the throne. Cronus, married to his sister Titaness Rhea, made the same mistake as his father did too. He was so greedy for power that he swallowed all his children upon birth, and when it was baby Zeus' turn to be swallowed, Rhea thought of giving Cronus a rock wrapped in a baby blanket. Soon later, Zeus grew up to be strong and wise enough to face his father. He made him regurgitate all his siblings by mixing mustard unto Cronus' wine. They all revolted against Cronus and imprisoned him in Tartarus. Olympians won, and they ruled the universe. Zeus, after marriages with Titans or Titaness, he married his very own sister, Hera. 12 gods of Mount Olympus, naming the first 6, Zeus, Poseidon, Hera, Demeter, or sometimes Hades in some accounts, and Hestia. The yellow fonts here represent the sons and daughters of Cronus and Rhea, the Titans. Others are Athena, Artemis, Apollo, Hermes, Ares, Aphrodite, and Hephaestus, the 12 gods, again, of Mount Olympus. Let's start with Zeus, known to be Jupiter among the Romans. He was the supreme god of the Olympians. He was the youngest son of the Titans Cronus and Rhea. Here, this picture tells us the deceit of Rhea to his husband, Cronus. This should have been baby Zeus, ready to be swallowed, remember? But because Rhea was wise enough, she wrapped a rock with a baby blanket and gave it to Cronus to be swallowed. But Zeus here was safe and sound in the mountain of Crete. When he had grown up, he caused Cronus to vomit his sisters and brothers, and these gods joined him in fighting to wrest control of the universe from the Titans and Cronus, their king. Having vanquished his father and other Titans, he imprisoned most of them in the underworld of Tartarus. Then he and his brothers Poseidon and Hades divided up the creation. Poseidon received the sea as his domain, Hades got the underworld, and he took the sky. He also was accorded the supreme authority on earth and on Mount Olympus, since everyone is indebted to him. Without him, there wouldn't be Olympians ruling the universe. This is Poseidon, known to be Neptune among Romans. He was the god of the sea, earthquakes, and horses. He was always depicted as a powerfully muscular, bearded man carrying the mighty trident. One blow from trident could split a rock open. He drove a two-horse chariot over the waves. This is Hera, known to be Juno among the Romans. She was the goddess of marriage. She was the wife of Zeus and queen of the Olympians. After Zeus' marriages with Metis and Themis, Zeus deceived her into marrying him despite her repulsion by changing himself into a cuckoo, a bird. When she allowed the bird to nest between her bosoms, Zeus returned to his own form and ravaged her. Later, she agreed to marry her brother. So how was she in her marriage life? Her marriage was never a happy one because of Zeus' numerous love affairs with both immortal goddesses and mortal women. She was renowned for her jealousy and temper. She's always angry. She persecuted Zeus' many offspring as well as his mistresses. This is Hades, known to be Pluto, the ruler of the underworld. He abducted Persephone and made her his bride. This is Demeter, known to be Ceres among the Romans, the goddess of corn or of earth and fertility. She became mother of Persephone by her brother Zeus. One day, while Persephone was playing with her companions, Hades came and abducted her. Hades had fallen in love with Persephone's great beauty. Hades wanted to marry her and make her his queen in the underworld. This picture talks about the abduction of Persephone, the child bride. To give you a brief background of the love between Hades and Persephone, let me start. Hades fell in love with his very own niece, Persephone, and decided to kidnap her. Let's talk once again about the child bride, Persephone. Persephone and Hades, one more myth of love and abduction in Greek mythology. Hades fell in love with his very own niece Persephone and decided to kidnap her. The myth says that in one of the rare times he left the underworld, he traveled above the ground to pursue her while she was gathering flowers in the field. He fell in love instantly with her. So this means that ancient Greeks believed in love at first sight. Zeus knew this, for Hades confided to him about his intention to his daughter Persephone. So the abduction plan was with the Let's go back. The bride, Persephone. She was so unhappy, and since she's just a child, she longed for her mother Demeter. Hades continued to pursue her patiently and consistently in the underworld, and he kept on offering her a forbidden fruit that would make her forget about the life on earth and stay with Hades forever. Here, on the other hand, the mother, Demeter, in her grief, she searched the world for 9 days, trying to find out how her daughter had vanished. When she discovered that Hades abducted Persephone, she refused to allow plants and crops to grow. The entire world was facing starvation. Finally, Zeus ruled that Persephone would spend 2/3 of year with her mother on earth, while the rest in the underworld with her husband. How did this happen? Let's go back. Since Hades was so patient with Persephone, and he would oftentimes offer his love to her by giving her the fruit. It was actually a fruit called pomegranate, which she kept on refusing to eat. Hatred turned to pity. Pity turned to love. And you know what happened at the last minute? Persephone decided to eat it willingly. Persephone could have been released from Hades if she had not eaten anything in the underworld during her captivity. But what can Demeter do? Persephone had already fallen in love with Hades. This explains once again the four seasons: winter, fall, spring, and summer. So every time Demeter is happy, that means to say that Persephone is with her. So that's spring and summer. But you know what? Every time Persephone leaves for Hades, Demeter will be very, very sad. And this explains the fall and winter. Okay, so let's move on to the other Olympian gods. The virgin goddess Vesta, or known to be Hestia among the Greeks. The virgin goddess of the hearth or fire. Although there is very little information about her in myths and literature, she was nevertheless an important goddess in both Greek and Roman religions. Mortals, when holding banquets, would pour wine in offerings to goddess, both first and last, one to open the banquet and the other to close it, possibly referring that she was the first-born and last-born status. At the beginning of every meal at home, a small offering was thrown onto the hearth or flame. A song was sung in her praise, welcoming the goddess to the home. Also, after a newborn baby was given a name, the infant was carried to the hearth or fire, where someone prayed for a blessing upon the child. This is Athena, known to be Minerva among the Romans. She was the virgin goddess of arts, craft, and war. After Zeus had overthrown his father Cronos and became the supreme ruler of heaven, Gaia warned her grandson that if Metis has a second child, it would be a son. Zeus was told that this son would one day overthrow him, and he didn't want that to happen, as he had done to his own father, Cronos. Not wanting to suffer the same fate as his father, he swallowed his wife Metis while she was still pregnant. And so you know what happened? Months later, Zeus suffered from great headache. Either Prometheus or Hephaestus used an axe to split open Zeus' head. This goddess leaped out of Zeus' head, wearing full armor, uttering a war cry. The gods were astonished and profoundly alarmed at this prodigy. It was only when she removed her helm that she revealed herself to be less formidable in aspect. She became Zeus' favorite child. Again, she's Athena. This is Artemis Diana among the Romans. She was the virgin goddess of the hunt. She helped women in childbirth, but also brought sudden death with her arrows. Looking at this goddess as a whole, we find many of her functions and roles often conflicting and contradictory. We have the goddess seen as virgin, yet she was goddess of childbirth and fertility. She was the huntress, yet she was protectress of the wild animals. You know, she got twin brother Apollo. When Apollo noticed that she was spending a great deal of time hunting with the great giant Orion, you know Orion, he is the hunter of the wild. He decided to put an end to this relationship. He challenged her to prove her skill to archery by shooting at an object floating far out at sea. Her shot was perfect. The target turned to be the head of the hunter Orion. See? Oftentimes, whenever you gaze up in the sky, you see the so-called Tres Marias, the three stars, well aligned. Well, that's actually Orion's belt. Let's move to Hermes, known to be Mercury among the Romans. He is considered herald and messenger of the gods. He was a god known for his invention and for theft. Before the end of his first day after his birth, he had invented the lyre made of tortoise's shell, and he had also stolen Apollo's cattle from the mountains of Pieria. He had the badges of his office as a herald, especially the herald staff known as caduceus. According to one myth, two snakes were attacking one another, but when Hermes separated the snakes with his staff, they made peace. The snakes attached themselves to the staff and became permanently intertwined around the caduceus. Are you familiar with this symbol, caduceus? You're right. Symbol of medicine. This is Ares, known to be Mars among the Romans, god of war. As a god of war, many Greek kingdoms did not worship him because he personified uncontrolled and murderous killing in war, and they didn't want that. Despite being a god of war, he was not a great fighter. He even lost to mortals in several encounters. And who do you think were their favorite? It was none other than the goddess of war. It was Athena. Moving on to Aphrodite, Venus among the Romans. She was the goddess of love, beauty, and fertility. She was also a protectress of sailors. She would punish anyone who spurned her on or refused to recognize her. She was also jealous of anyone who may surpass her great beauty. In the Roman tale, as Venus, she wanted to make Psyche marry the monster, but her own son, Cupid, known to be Eros, fell in love with her. This one is Hephaestus, known to be Vulcan among the Romans. He was the lame god of fire and crafts, or two together, hence of blacksmiths. He was the son of Zeus and Hera, or in some accounts, of Hera alone. He limped, you know why? Because he was born lame, which caused his mother to throw him off Mount Olympus. Can you imagine that? Or in other accounts, he interceded in a fight between Zeus and Hera, and Zeus took him by the foot and threw him from Olympus to earth far below. He accomplished numerous prodigies of craftsmanship, such as the marvelous palaces that he built for the gods atop Mount Olympus, or the armor that he made for Achilles during the siege of Troy, and also the first woman known to be Pandora. This is the home of the gods in the Olympus, and this is the armor of Achilles. Dionysus or Dionysus, known to be Bacchus among the Romans, gods of wine and ecstasy. Semele was still pregnant with him when she was killed. Zeus rescued the unborn god from the dead mother Semele and sewed the premature baby into his thigh until he was ready to be born. This means he was born twice. As a young man, he traveled as far as India and taught people how to cultivate vine as well as how to make wine. So, let me ask you the question. What should a god or a goddess possess to be worth emulating? What do you think? To be good at all times, just like our God the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. A god or goddess who knows how to seek for the truth to serve true justice. One who knows how to respect, be humble, and offers free will to mankind. And most of all, the one who truly loves mankind unconditionally. So, your performance is given to you in your self-learning module. Oh my gods and goddesses, you will be impersonating any Greek god or goddess and speak before mankind. Your task is to dress up like a god or goddess and project yourself as someone who will be of help to mankind. Your role, you are a god or goddess from Greek mythology. Your audience will be your classmates and me, your teacher, who will act as members of a suffering mankind. Your situation, the world needs your help for its many sufferings like calamities, hunger, war, sickness, relationship problems, and others. Gods and goddesses appear before mankind to offer their help. And the product? You will speak before mankind, introduce yourself as a god or goddess, and explain how your dimensions can help them with any of their problems. The standard or criteria, your speech and bearing will be the basis for grading using the criteria that follow. You will get as much as 25 if the portrayal of god or goddess is creative but faithful to the myth. Speech is relevant, concise, and clear. If portrayal of god and goddess is somehow creative and faithful to the myth, speech is quite relevant and concise or clear, you'll get satisfactory rating of 20. If the portrayal of god or goddess is somehow creative and faithful to the myth, speech is poorly cites relevance and is poorly delivered. This means it needs improvement. You'll get 15. If the portrayal of god or goddess lacks creativity and faithfulness to the myth, and speech lacks preparation and practice, all in all, it's unsatisfactory. You will get 8 points. So, good luck, everyone. I'm sure you can do this. So, see each other on the next video. Do your best. Goodbye.